start off our pro peloton, as we always do, let's have a minute of silence in memory of cyclists who have passed away.
Okay, let's just hold
in
after
this
this.
past year.
After this.
Thank you very much, everybody. Guys, what we will do now is we will play the national anthem.
National anthem.
And then we'll get you guys going. So let's play the national anthem.
Hello, good morning and welcome to River Sands Commercial Park and the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. And it starts with the anthem, the national anthem here at River Sands. Ahead of the riders heading off on their 94.7 kilometer journey around Johannesburg. Yeah, the anthem really sets the tone here at the start of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. It's flipped again. They start through Staines City. They go up down into Randburg and then all the way into the city. The first 50 Ks, a lot of climbing, a really, really hard first 50 Ks. The racing's going to be really hard there. Then all the way out on after the city loop, down on the M1 South or M1 North as it is then, and into Blue Hills, Kyalami, and into the finish here at River Sands. Who's it going to be? Well, the defending champion is Brandon Downs, 2 hours and 15 minutes, but he's got plenty of opposition here. Nolan Hoffman hasn't won this one. Daryl Impey won it 2 years ago. He's here. Dylan Girdleston from the Office Guru team here. Tega here. Pro Toucher here. All the big teams are here, and they're about to set off right here on their journey around Johannesburg.
Until you guys take a right, then you can start racing.
We're going to be bringing you live from the front of the race all the way through on the live streaming, a race camera that will be the solitary camera bringing you images from the front of the race all the way around this beautiful city of Johannesburg. They're about to be off here. The first section into Staines City will be neutral, and away they go. Executive Mayor Herman Mashaba sends them off. The Discovery 947 Ride Joburg is on its way. And a huge group of pros and under 23s roll away here. This is the best in the country. Right at the back there, Nolan Hoffman in 114 of Team Enza. He's a man who's going to be looking to be at the finish here on a little bit of a sprint. We are going to be following them all the way around the course. So stay with us, my cameraman Gert. We've got Yuppie and Filma on the bikes. We're going to bring you images. We're going to bring you the taste, the flavor of Johannesburg on this great day. The Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. Stay with us.
We've been knocking on that door for years. It would be magical to see him take the others.
So there we go. Without your stoker, it could be a bit of a problem. The largest pro racing tandem group in the world of cycling. Ride Joburg, Discovery 947.
What a sight it is here in Johannesburg on this beautiful morning. It really is a spectacular morning, and we're going to be bringing you all the action we possibly can from the front of this race. And there really is thousands and thousands of riders making their way up here. They'll be setting off all the way through the morning on their journey, their loop around this beautiful city in the 23rd edition of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. Back in 1997, the first year, won by Nick White, who is still very much involved in coaching and training riders and bringing young riders into the sport and upskilling them into to the level of professional athletes. And we're going to be making our way up through the main city here to catch the back end of the elite group. Passing through the cars here, the group of the Office Guru Racing Team. Dylan Girdleston, of course, one of the key men in that lineup. ACDC Luso, then the team car of Brandon Downs, the young man who won it last year against all expectation. Got into the early break and then found himself able to get away on the last 10-15 kilometers through Blue Hills and into River Sands. Team car of Team Pro Touch. As we snake now into Stain City. So really early on, this route starts going up and down and putting the riders under a degree of pressure. Even these right at the back here, just needing to stay in touch. You don't want to get caught out here too early, that's for sure. There's Nivoud van Lille there, number 138 from Mpumalanga. And he's already battling to stay in touch with the back end of the field here as they go up the first little climb through the gate. So we're going to be bringing you our live race cam. We will be making our way to the front of the race, don't worry about that. Slowly but surely as the race unfolds, we will be right up there at the sharp end, giving you a flavour of this city on a spectacular day when the city, well, it opens its heart. It doesn't shut down on a day like today, the city of Johannesburg. Roads are closed all the way around, however, that's been going on for many years, and the residents are incredible the way they embrace events like this in Johannesburg.
And any of you around the country who think there are no hills here in Johannesburg, stay with us for the next 2.5 hours. You'll find out this is definitely not flat racing country. Yeah, bottles going flying in the road in front of us here as riders pop over these speed humps through Stain City. And we'll flatten out here and go over the river at the bottom of the golf course. And riders here scrambling to just try and find the next rider's wheel to get up the climb and make sure they don't get dropped. It's a very big group, this, and if we go through it, we've got Brandon Downs, the defending champion, Dylan Girdleston, his teammate Mark Pritson, very, very strong option. He's leading the national series at the moment. They've also got Travis Barrett, Louis Visser. Well, he's he might get in an early break and disappear up the road. Now the groups start forming here. Lucas Sturman there at the front of that group. And we'll make our way out of Stain City here. Through the Cedar Road exit. Cheers to Stain City, a wonderful 200-hectare piece of prime property with a wonderful golf course and 40 kilometers of pedestrian walkways around Stain City. Alex Wisda a little bit towards the back here for Office Guru. He doesn't want to be there for too long. Now we're getting into the thick end of this tail here. The yellow jersey up front there is that of Alan Gordon, who's a mountain biker. In fact, won a big race in Australia, the Crocodile Trophy, a short while ago. He's in very good, very, very strong rider. However, he is riding on his own here. And of course, as we know, races like this very, very often dependent on the strength of the entire squad and not just the solo rider. Daryl Impey, though, put that little theory away a couple of years ago when he won on his own. He's back here again, the South African champion. And again, he'll be on his own, trying to work his way through to the sharp end and the business end and stay out of trouble. He's not got too many allies in this race, Daryl. A little hard work there. There's Alan Gordon. And a long line now as we head down Cedar Road, north of Johannesburg, on a beautiful morning. The sun at our backs, clear it is. We might have a bit of wind later on today, but I'm not sure that it'll affect too many of these riders. Still early days. But already there's a little split that's occurred here, and there's a bunch up ahead. Those left behind here, well, they include a couple of key riders from Office Guru, Pro Touch and Enza. Hard work being done by Callum Hilton there to close the gap for Tag. Coming down this hill here, these guys are going at around 75 kilometers an hour as they fly down the hill here. Down Cedar Road, very, very steep as it bottoms out into Braamfontein Spruit at the bottom. We've got a sighting here of HB Krier riding for Alpha Bodyworks Giant. His teammate just ahead of him is Reinhard Barrère. Nicely positioned for HB. He's a very strong mountain biker. and of course won the Amashova of 160 kilometers a few weeks ago. So very, very important figure to have him at the sharp end here. JP Lloyd for Office Guru, as well as Dylan Girdleston. They're nicely represented here in this front group. Wessel Botha on the front of the race here. And right behind him, Mark Pritson, the under-23 champion of South Africa in those stripes. Wessel Botha, who last week took the mountain bike event. He's in great form. And he's riding for the NAD Pro Specialized team with Nico Bell, his teammate, his senior teammate, further back in the field. So Wessel doing some work here. And a really talented young man is Wessel. He recently won the big mountain bike race down in the Cape, the Wines to Wales, with Matt Beers. Mark Pritson, who leads the national series, of course. And behind Mark, riding Pritson, of course, for Office Guru, riding in the colours of TEG. And we've got Michael Pretorius. And then key man for Team Enza here in the blue jersey, fourth wheel, is Stephen van Heerden. And Enza very confident. David Marie, they've got Nolan Hoffman, they've got plenty of options. Marie won the Chwani Classic quite recently. Hoffman won the Max Steel as well. So key man, there comes David Maria now, right up next to Stephen van Heerden. David Maria puts a little dig in here. Going with him is Dylan Girdleston. There goes David Maria, and Girdleston goes with him. And Louis Visser is the man who tags onto the wheel and trying to close the gap to them for Pro Touch. There'll be 4 riders now. Here's Miles van Moschenbroek. Well, there, Miles van Moschenbroek knows what it's like at the sharp end here, and easing across for Alpha Bodyworks is HP Kriya. So 5 teams represented. And another rolls into the picture here, Jaco van Dijk from ACDC Luso. So there's no question David Maria looking to make it really hard here, and Dylan Girdleston, chatting to him before the race, said key to the race from Office Guru's perspective is to really make it as hard as possible. So the left corner here, the R114, as we leave Cedar Road. So the surface will be a little bit bumpy here. Daryl Impey makes a junction. Daryl Impey's got across, the national champion. Well, you cannot discount this man. It's not his season at the moment. But of course, he won for 2 years in a row the Tour Down Under, which is in January down in Australia for Mitchelton Scott. So don't make any mistakes about his form relative to the rest of the riders here. Whilst is not discounting the strength of these riders. And a couple more go up the road. A little late charge from the main group. Stephen van Heerden goes for Team Enza. Van Dijk will follow him. Dylan Girdleston. Every little bump here is being used at the moment. Van Heerden will look over his shoulder and see that he's opened up a gap. 50 meters perhaps. MP just biding his time behind. Van Heerden eases off. Stephen van Heerden on the Tour of Durban this year, of course, and he's very, very strong track rider. He's got ambitions on the track. At Paarl later in the year, Daryl Impey just rolls through, has a look around, who's with me? He has a look across and sees Louis Visser, young Louis Visser from down Oudtshoorn Way, riding for TEG. And here they all come. So it's all back together. Well, the city of Johannesburg, away, a long, long way away at the moment. As Pritson follows a wheel. Also coming into the picture here, Casper Krier, number 29. Flavia Venchslau as well for TEG. 2 of Josh van Dijk just staying with it. Here goes Josh. Lanky figure, puts a dig in. Van Heerden and Pritson will let him go. Looks over his shoulder. So we've got plenty of live streaming options for you today from the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. We'll have a camera and Vanessa Bell with the women's elite race, and there'll be plenty of live streaming options from the race venue at River Sands, and of course from 1 to 2 we'll be bringing you live stream package highlights of the men's race, the women's race, the mountain bike and the kiddies race from the event. So Van Dijk is up the road and he's got around 80 meters. And we're 11 kilometers into the day's ride. Really digging hard, yeah, you can see him moving every muscle on that body to get the bike up over this little incline, but slowly but surely the group of around 8 or 9 riders is going to shut him down quite soon. Stephen van Heerden driving the pace behind for Team Enza. Nolan Hoffman is their option when it comes down to the sprint, but it's unlikely that this race is going to come down to a bunch sprint. These teams are not in for that, and there's perhaps too much undulation for that to happen. You've got to get the sprinters over the early climbs. So Josh van Dijk is up the road now. And here comes the next bunch. David Marie on the front of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders here. Jan Manchoy has joined at the back of this group, together with Lutando Kaka. Well, there's a blast from the past. FXTM rider Lutando. He's got a good team here, Lutando. A little fracture here. Just making sure the gaps are closed. David Maria, Louis Visser, Mark Britson, and right up front, Dominic Janssen in the colours of Token. Casper Kruger behind him as we'll swing left and head. Again, if they were to look up as they come over the brow of the hill here at Nooit Gedacht, they'll get a look at the city centre of Johannesburg, and in less than an hour or so they'll be very close to that. 8 riders here. You can hear Lutando Kaka in this group here, very experienced rider, is saying keep rolling, we've got to get riders through and around, and Joshua van Dijk's been hauled in, so this is the lead group now. 10 riders, and they've got a very handy lead of around 200 meters. And they'll fly down this hill. Lutando Kaka there driving it here. He's the experience here. Jan Manchoy ahead. He's on the front of the group. Mark Britson in the tuck. Flavio Venceslao here as well. Travis Barrett has made it across here for Office Guru. So yeah, they had lost a rider in this group, so Travis Barrett finished third in the mountain bike race a week ago, has made his way into this lead group. in the tuck. They'll bottom out. Mark Pritson on the front there, getting every centimetre he can off this road. So Pritson, open little gap here. So he's got a teammate in this in Travis Barrett, so they can play an extra card here. Proteg have 2 riders in this group, very well represented. Orteg and Office Guru. Enzo only have 1 in David Maria, but that was their plan. I fancy AC. Do see Luso have 1. FXTM with Lutando Kaka. He looks over his shoulder. I don't think his urging of the group to work has paid off, because the bunch behind them are starting to close in. There's a group of about 6 riders starting to close the gap. So Van Dijk on the front, and Dominic Janssen riding on his own for Team Token at the moment up front here. Flavio Venceslau, third wheel in this little group. Remember that Mark Pritson is only about a second or so up the road for Office Guru. There's a second group desperately trying to make the junction across to this lead group. Pritson big and strong on the front there. Venceslau just behind him. Barrett goes on the front now. Montoya, maybe they're going to start working together here, as we'll pause to see the second group coming in now. Wessel Buerter is in this group. Tristan Cuthbert, Alex Worsdale, Wessel Buerter, Miles van Muschenbroek, and Joshua van Wyk in this group. Beg your pardon, is Jaco van Dijk up ahead, Joshua van Wyk here for Team Enza. This is the chase group now. No more than 3 or 4 seconds really up the road, maybe 5 seconds to lead group. Wessel Buerter. Well, he's a young man with plenty of potential on the mountain bike. He and young Peter de Toy engaged in a thrilling race last week in the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg mountain bike challenge here, in fact at Stain City. And Wessel Buerter, well, he's such a powerhouse. Just got the better. Slowly but surely they're closing the gap here. Van Muschenbroek, Pro Touch, they're the one team who are missing from this little break. Worsdale number 7 there for Team Office Guru. If he can get across there, that'll make it 3 for them, and also for Teg there'll be a third rider in that group if they bridge across, which they're very likely to do. Tristan Cuthbert is the other man from Teg here. We cut through North Riding here in Johannesburg. Beautiful clear morning. Temperatures likely to get up to around 30 degrees, having started around 15 degrees this morning. Wessel Buerter, the young man on the front of the second group here, is a real lone ranger. Yeah, along with 1 or 2 other Lutando Kaka perhaps, but Lutando's got a team behind him. And Wessel Botha, the mountain bike, it just rolls right to the front of this group. Well, Miles van Musschenbroek in this Pro Touch colours here in the group, he was very instrumental in Brendan Davids' win here 3 years ago. Brendan Davids came to the event as a mountain biker, and his win here, Van Musschenbroek did an enormous amount of work for him on that day, and in fact launched Brendan Davids' career as a road rider. He headed off to Australia, joined a team in Australia, and is now riding over there. This is really making it hard up front here is Alex Worsdale. Remember, he was right at the back going through Stain City, so he's made his way through 140 odd riders. Yep. "15 riders here, Jan Monchoya and Lutando Kaka at the back. Lutando also found himself on a mountain bike a couple of weeks ago down in the Cape at the Wines to Wales. So we're getting to the junction of the Witkoppen Road junction here in North Riding. And this is again an undulating section of the route. Lovely to see the runners and supporters on the side of the road as well. Johannesburg coming out to support the riders. Fantastic. A bit of a commercial and industrial belt here on the Witkoppen Road. Always busy during the week, but of course on Discovery 947 Ride Joburg Day, the streets belong to the cyclists, which is wonderful to see. No cars on these roads. Full road closure for the entire day in this massive city. It's an incredible feat. Amazing. What a sight. A little fracture here. Again, Wessel Botha is doing an enormous amount of work on the front here. Nice high tempo with Travis Barrett now coming across those two of the top three in the mountain bike race a week ago. Tristan Cuthbert from Teg Pro Cycling Office Guru there as well. And they all come across once again. This group desperate to try and get away. It would really thin the race out and put the teams with the sprinters under real pressure. Into the aero tuck position. Made famous by that other part South African, the great Chris Froome. And now used all over the world by cyclists, pros and amateurs alike. But I can assure you, this is not something you want to do without some serious skill, because they are going at around 79 kilometers an hour down this hill. Flatten out at the bottom over the Spruit. Flashing through the intersections. What a sight this is. The breakaway group of around 15 riders have got themselves a very handy lead now. If I look back down the road, I cannot see, down and up the road, I cannot see the rest of the peloton. In fact, 14 riders now, this lead group. We're heading up and we're turning right very, very shortly. It is probably now, as Jaco van Dijk is back in here for ACDC Luce. He made a valiant effort to bridge back here. He was an early attacker and then found himself dropped, and he's managed to get back onto the group here. There's Miles van Muschenbroek on the front for Pro Touch. Very strong, a little flick of the shoulder saying to Wessel Botha, you do some work now. If we can work together, then this group could stay away, because the rest of the bunch are only at the bottom of the hill. They've just come up now. So if they keep this tempo up, this could be a very, very important break as we now go through the water point on Witkoppen, some 20 kilometers in. No stopping for this bunch, of course. We come up to the right-hander. It'll take us into Douglas Avenue, and then we'll pop over the M1. A sign there that'll tell them 70 kilometers to go as we swing into Douglas Avenue and head towards Bryanston. This is Douglasdale, of course. The back of the group here, Lutando Kaka. Wonderful to see Lutando back racing. Spent many years racing with a number of pro teams here in South Africa. Now a man who looks after the Ride for Hope, the Nelson Mandela's legacy ride that takes a group of riders from Vilakazi Street all in Soweto all the way to the Nelson Mandela capture site over 4 days of riding, stopping along the way to donate computers and vital educational tools to various schools in towns along the way. Lutando giving back to his country and to the sport. Well, the experienced riders in this group are asking for more work to be done. I can tell you though that Wessel Botha, no, he's still in this group, but there's a rider up the road, and I think it might well be Dominic Janssen. No, he's still in this group. But there is a man up the road there, tall figure. It might be, I'm guessing here, but it might be Jaco van Dijk from ACDC's Luso. More support along the route. Fantastic to see. So, Office Guru with 3 riders in this group. Mark Pritson at the front there, Alex Worsdale and Travis Barrett. Teg Pro Cycling, they have 2 riders in this group, and Tristan Cuspert and Flavia Venceslau, and indeed one other in Casper Krier. So 3 riders from Teg, 3 from Office Guru, 2 from the Enza squad. David Mariens, with him is Joshua van Wyk. Dominic Janssen on his own. So this is the lead group. So we're going to stop and take a little split here. So they've gone 33 minutes and 25 seconds up the road, 24 kilometers into the race. So 20 seconds, and we'll see what the split is to the main bunch, which, if you look down the road here, Douglas Avenue, are coming at quite a rate behind us here, trying to close it off. And with 3 riders from TEG, 3 riders from Office Guru in this group, in that lead group here, there won't be too much work done by those teams here. Enzo have got 2 riders up here. Of course, they're looking to set things up for Stephen Verheerden maybe, and for Nolan Hoffman. So the teams who are going to be working here, well, they will be those who don't have riders in that main group up the road there. But there's still plenty of climbing to come, of course, over the course of the first 50 kilometers of this. There's a minute gone already. And there we go. One Office Guru rider rolls through now. But the main bunch, we are looking at 1 minute and 25 seconds. And Alpha Bodyworks Giant are on the front. They're the one big team here who have missed this break. And they will be desperate to pull it back here. So 1 minute and let's make it 20 seconds. 1 minute and 20 seconds is the split here at Douglas Avenue. The team cars come here. 1 minute 20. We'll make our way through the group now, through the team cars. As we dip towards Bryanston, we'll turn right onto Homestead. We'll climb up Homestead past the Bryanston Golf Club. So Alpha Bodyworks Giant are the team, the one team really you feel that will be desperate to make the junction across to this group. As we cross over the main artery, the circular road around Johannesburg, this is the N1, fairly quiet today as you look north and south, but this is where the business is. Also in this group I see Nico Bell of the NAD Pro team, his teammate Vessel Boerter doing all that work up front. FXTM have a number of riders in this group as well. Off Grosvenor and into Moray now. Little wiggle here through Douglasdale. A couple of sharp lefts and rights. 1,400 meters of climbing over the 94.7 kilometers around Johannesburg today. A little bit of pressure at the front there from Alpha Bodyworks Giants. Put the tail of this long snake under some stress. The riders are scrambling to close in. The one rider we'd like to see if he's in this group is Nolan Hoffman. I'm sure he will be in there somewhere. He ends a sprinter. Yes, there is Nolan Hoffman. He's got number 114 on his back, quite near the back here with Team Enza. 110 is Tokozani Mklangu. And 113 Tulisizo and Kenge. On 12, beg your pardon, Tulisizo. Looking into the sun here. We drop down onto Cumberland. And this little drag up past Bryanston Country Club. So this is the bunch, the chase bunch, about 1 minute and 20 seconds down on the lead group. And Office Guru got a couple of riders in here. They won't be too panicked. They've got 3 riders up the road. Teg have Enzo have got riders up here. But this is where it counts, because the Alpha Bodyworks Giant team, they're the team who've missed the break. And Reinhard Marais doing a lot of work up front here for the Cape team to try and close it down, because they want to try and get a couple of their riders in the mix here. And wonderful to see another young mountain biker, Henry Liebenberg, just behind him. He went to the World Cross Country Championships. Daryl Impey in this group as well. So that's the sharp end of the group. Wonderful to see the people of Johannesburg again out to support. Well, the riders will be coming through here by their thousands all day today. Truly magnificent day for the city of Johannesburg, for South Africa, as we celebrate another edition of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. 23 years. So can Daryl Impey make something out of this? He's sitting in the main group here, about 1:20 back. He's got no allies. So how is he going to find his way to the front? Has he got the condition to ride across himself? And this is what today's about, this first half of the race. A lot of little drags like this that just come like waves at the riders, like rollers off the ocean. Just got to get over them and get over them, and hope that the legs last. So one bold soul has put his nose in the wind here. Wessel Swanepoel. Well, he's going to try and get across to that lead group. Now the couple of the team cars are coming through, and that'll tell you that that gap has opened perhaps to 2 minutes now. Office Guru Pro Toucher through there, Tagger through. So that gap is significant. Very, very big gap. Alpha Bodyworks doing all they can. Reinhard Marais behind us trying to drag himself across to the break. Seeing the team cars would have ignited the adrenaline in those riders if it wasn't already, because they now know that if that break is away, they're not going to see them again until the finish. Through Homestead here, and Bryanston, another of the water points. We're around 29 kilometers into the day of 94, as one man's been dropped. That's Dominic Janssen off that lead group. So this is up to that lead group. And then on to main road here in Randburg. We'll go through the heart of the city centre of Randburg. Almost one of the flattest sections of the entire race. So let's see if we can do a head count on this main group, this lead group. So Dominic Janssen being dropped there means that We've gone to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 riders. Lutando Kaka at the back of this group here. Then we've got Casper Krier for Teg, Joshua van Wyk for Enza, Jaco van Dijk for ACDC Luso, David Maria for Enza, and Travis Barrett for Office Guru. He's got alongside him the strong, powerful Alexander Worsdale and Mark Pritson. 3 of those from Office Guru, looking very, very strong. Pritson at the moment. Flavio Venceslav and Tristan Cuthbert for Teg. Jan Machoy has just left the gap here, so he might be dropping off. And right up front, Wessel Botha of NAD Pro on his own, just quietly doing his own thing. So that's the front of the race. As we'll get to the crest of Randburg here, established, named Randburg in 1959. Funnily enough, it was a public competition. It was put out to find the name for the new town that they were establishing north of Johannesburg. In those days, a long way north of Johannesburg, but now, of course, connected by an artery we're going to be riding on all day today. Jan Smuts and into the city centre. We'll do a loop around there and then back again. So riders calling for bottles, and the team cars just trying to make their way through. So now we start on the series of undulations, the ups and downs that take us down Jan Smuts here. And an opportunity for this group to be thinned down even more, perhaps. And a high-speed descent. Across the Republic Road intersection, such a busy intersection every other day of the year here in Johannesburg and Randburg, but today, of course, closed off for the exclusive use of the cyclists and the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. Of course, you have options. You can watch the women's race, which is underway now. Vanessa Bell is on the bike, bringing you commentary on that, and there are a number of other live streaming options from the race central there at River Sands and Stain City. If you'd like to keep an eye on the vibe, the atmosphere, and what's going on here at Johannesburg's biggest cycle event. Well, Wessel Botha keeps laying down the law on the front here. Amazing. Across Gordon Road, we flip onto the other side of the road. Well, Teg Pro Cycling and Office Guru and Enza will be delighted with the way it's working out here for their team. 3 from Teg, 3 from Office Guru, and 2 from Enza. Daryl Impey, as I said, not in this group. We'll take if Jason Oosthuizen, the young talent, went to the World Championships. He is not in this break, but could come into the picture down at the finish as we cross Braamfontein Spruit down the bottom of Jan Smuts. And now we hit the start of this very long drag up to Hyde Park corner. It flattens a little as it goes through Dunkeld, and then it snakes up to or through the zoo area up to the Parktown Ridge, and this is the start of that climb. And immediately going to the front of the group here, Casper Krier for Teg. They're going to start exerting a bit of pressure here on this group. Miles van Musselbroek here for Pro Touch, who, well, they've had a wonderful year. South Africa's continental team and #1 team on the continent. They've got riders, they've had riders racing in China and Malaysia, and they've got another group racing in China this weekend. Number of motorbikes up around us here in the front. A race commissaire amongst them. There's photographers, and that's the race commissaire now at the front, just rolling in, giving a warning to a couple of the riders for drafting. All of those drafting behind one of the photographer bikes. It's not a very steep gradient, but it's relentless. And for once, Wessel Boert has dropped off or moved off the front, not for long. Jaco van Dijk was on the front, and he swung off, and now Boert on the front again. Big Casper Krier behind. Travis Barrett going nicely for Office Guru, Mark Pritson. They really are looking a cohesive trio here. Pritson, Barrett and Worsdale for Office Guru. Had a very good year. Dylan Girdleston is back in the bunch there, further back, probably about 2 minutes now off the group. Mark Pritson leads the national series. Went to the World Championships, Pritson in the under-23s. As I said earlier, the one team who find themselves shortchanged here are Alpha Bodyworks Giant, a team from Cape Town with a number of good cards to play there. Find themselves out of this mix. HB Krier is perhaps their key man. He's a hard man, really, really tough. Perhaps likes it a little bit longer. He won the Mashova a couple of weeks ago. Over 160 kilometers, the elite race there. So the climb starting to string this group out here, and a couple of riders starting to drift off the back. Lutando Kaka, Jan Monchoya, perhaps their day's done. Bringing it down to 11 riders, also battling away at the back of the group here. Joshua van Wyk for Enza. Great vibe here. Hyde Park Corner, built in the 70s. This is one of the early shopping centres in this part of the world as Johannesburg expanded rapidly northward. And now the little flat section through Dunkeld, and may afford the opportunity. I think not. Jan Monchoya has dropped off, and Lutando Kaka, so I think they're out of it now. So 11 riders here. And a stinging pace up front. And set by Joshua van Wyk, I think. Through Dunkeld. Great vibe. This will be absolutely cooking later today. Crossing the Bompus Road intersection of Jan Smuts Avenue, and the lush trees that dominate the sidewalks and streets of Johannesburg. Some 10 million trees around this city. It is widely regarded as the most tree-lined city in the world. Certainly of its size anyway. Mark Pritson on the front of this group doing the work for Office Guru. His two teammates a little bit further back, Worsdale and Barrett. David Marie, little figure of David Marie, won the Chwani Classic a short while ago, is in the blue colours of Enza. One minute, the gap to the group we've been led to believe. 1 minute. Well, it's getting closer. It was a little bit bigger a short while ago as we went through Douglasdale after the climbs of Witkoppen. The shadows on the big buildings here in Low Rosebank cast over the road as we'll switch over to the right-hand lane. And great support from the Waterpoint crews. They'll be very busy later today. We are 38 kilometers into today's Ride Joburg Discovery 947 Ride Joburg, and this is the lead group. Eleven riders fly down through Parkwood. A little respite after that long drag up Jan Smuts through the S's here and head towards the Zoo Lake area. And Mark Pritson, big strong Mark Pritson on the front of this group. Now moving towards the Saxon World region of Johannesburg, if you know the area. Dappled sunshine as the sun's still fairly low early in the morning. Impromptu water points or just stands, families come out and sit alongside the road and make a whole day of it. Little gap starting to appear here. Enza on the front. They've got a powerhouse pair, no question about it. Joshua van Wyk has made his way back to the front now and is doing some work for Enza. Jaco van Dijk, who now goes to the front for Team ACDC Luso. And we're flat now as we come through Saxon World. The riders will look up and see that long drag up towards Parktown, which takes them past the Zoo and Zoo Lake. Zoo on the left-hand side, Zoo Lake on the right-hand side. This is a real focal point of Johannesburg. Westcliff Ridge on the right-hand side. I hope home high up on the hill there. And the Zoo, well, it is an iconic part of this city. 200 acres, 2,090 odd individuals, 330 odd species of birds and animals, reptiles, mammals alike. So it is much loved. Been around since 1904, the zoo. First animals were donated, in fact, by Sir Percy Fitzpatrick, the author of Jock of the Bushveld, who had a residence, I believe, up here in Westcliff at some stage of his life, but he would go on hunting expeditions, and he brought back many of the early animals that were donated here. Up goes the hand from Joshua van Wyk. He needs a team car from ACDC Luso. Well, these riders will know that this is the last of the seriously big climbs, or tough climbs, of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg route, and once they've got through the top here, it'll be on to the M1 South, and it'll be a lot of downhill and flat. Obviously there's some little climbs to contend with later on in the day, and there's a water bottle for Joshua van Wyk. Jaco van Wyk, beg your pardon. What's the plan? Well, he's still in here, and this break is around a minute ahead of the bunch behind. Jan Manchoy has made his way back into this group, but Letondo Kaka hasn't. Well, he's done a great job, Jan Manchoy. A little dig here as the road, the incline gets a little steeper. Mark Pritson puts the hammer down on the front, and Manchoy drops off the back, showing the effect of this little dig. Office Guru making it hard. Worsdale just wanting to make contact with the rider in front of him from Teg, and one man from Teg is starting to roll backwards, and that is Tristan Cuthbert. He looks as though he's done. So Teg look as though they may have lost one of their trio of riders here, but they'll have time to perhaps pull it back. And Josh van Wyk is also starting to roll off the back of this for Enza. Nice little dig on the front there from Mark Pritson. And Flavia Venchla as well, the young man, real talent. Well, it's not far from where he was educated. Just gone past, there are a lot of riders in the Office Guru kit supporting their team. They're standing on the side of the road, amongst them Neil MacDonald, former top pro. Travis Barrett is losing contact. Miles van Mushenbroek having to dig deep here just to close the gap as they go around the bend at the top of the Parktown Ridge. Well, this is the Randlords made their homes here, huge homesteads. Back at over 120 odd years ago. Sir Lionel Phillips was the first of the big Randlords to build home here in 1887, I believe. No longer stands, but a lot of the other homes are preserved as heritage sites. Pritson on the front, he's such a powerhouse. On the bars, just leaning comfortably, looking very relaxed. David Maria behind. And Venchslaar, very light. And Wessel van Wyk, Wessel Botha still in there for NAD Pro, believe it or not. Over the M1 and Empire Roads intersection coming, we're heading into town. All the schools along this ridge, many of these riders and many from this event. Parktown Boys High to our left as we go across Empire Road now. And Wits University to our right, Help Mekar on our left as well. Wits University established in the 1920s, The Great Hall, built in 1925. It stands proud now as one of the great educational institutions on the continent of Africa. Constitutional Hill away to our left, of course, the seat of Constitutional Court, and for over 100 years an infamous prison. How the South African landscape has changed over the years. It housed prisoners the likes of Nelson Mandela and his treason trialists were held there in 1959. Mahatma Gandhi was held for a pastoral offence in Constitutional Court. And one of the last prisoners to be held at the women's cells, which is up at what is now Constitutional Court, was Barbara Hogan. Braamfontein, past the Catholic Church with Nelson Mandela Bridge. What a magnificent sight. Bridges across from Braamfontein into the city, and a little split has happened at the front of this group, but not one that I think will last for too long. Miles van Musschenbroek of Pro Touch is driving hard to make the cross, and with him looking to bridge across are the two Office Guru riders, Worsdale and Travis Barrett, and Flavia Venceslau. Slowly but surely this group is being whittled down as we cross the multitude of railway lines. Johannesburg City Station away to our left, and the magnificent city skyline. Believe it or not, the Anstey's building was the highest building on the African continent for many years, now dwarfed by any number of these monstrous buildings that dominate Johannesburg's magnificent skyline. City of Johannesburg's water point as we're into Newtown. Car Street, named after a mayor of Johannesburg back at the turn of the century, last century, in the 1900s. David Maria is making it hard on the front of this for Team Enza. So those 3 or 4 riders who were just caught a little bit off guard, that sharp attack, are back into the mix here. What an opportunity for the cyclists of South Africa to come and ride on these magnificent roads. As we turn in the city, after 45 kilometers, we're just over halfway. And we're on to the M1 North. So van Musschenbroek, he's just eased off and looking back for support from his car, perhaps. For Pro Touch, there's a little easing of the pack here. And again doing a lot of the work on the front for Office Guru. So the gap is around 2 minutes to the chase group, and I sense that might be it, rather like a year ago when Brandon Downs found himself in the group. The opportunity for victory in one of the biggest races in the country is there for one of these 11 riders. Who is it going to be? Well, the next hour or so will tell us. There's going to be a very fast section of the road here. Lovely adventures are there for Teg on the left hand side of the road. Since there might be a bit of a breeze, they might be riding into here. Nothing too stressful for the riders, mind you, but it may get stronger later in the day and put the back of the field under some pressure. Great support from the Waterpoint crews. They really are going to be doing a magnificent job today. Out here for hours on end. The riders will be coming through here late this afternoon in the heat of the day. There's a little drag up to the back up to the top of the Parktown Ridge. So, those of you who are just joining us, this is our race cam coverage of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. And our lead group about 2 minutes ahead of the chase group. We've only got one camera on this, so bear with us. This is what we can bring you. Hopefully you can make head or tail of what is happening in this race. 2 minute break. This group got away going through Witkoppen and largely stayed intact. So the group, 3 riders from Office Guru, Alexander Worsdale, Travis Barrett and Mark Pritson. 2 riders from Teg Pro Cycling. They are Kasper Krier and Flavio Venceslau. 2 riders from Team Enza, David Marie on the front of this group, and number 20, Joshua van Wyk. And then we've got the 2 solo men, Wessel Botha riding for NAD Pro. There's a little attack on the left-hand side of the road from Jaco van Dijk from ACDC Lusa. Very clever little move. He swung over to the left quietly and then attacked from the back. Miles van Muschelbroek is the other rider from Pro Touch. And that's our lead group. And that's a clever move from Jaco van Dijk. Over the top he goes. Pritson, Botha behind him. And the rest of the group will close them down. And tuck in now on this not particularly steep descent, but one that they can allow the legs to recover a little after that brutally hard first 45 kilometers or so. Who is going to have the legs? Who's going to do enough or has little work in preserving his legs here so that they've got something left for those last kickers through Blue Hills. Now David Maria is going to tuck in and try and chase down Alex Worsdale. Trying to work each other over here, thin this group out. The one man is looking so comfortable, not worrying about any team dynamics in this group, is young Wessel Botha. Oh, NAD Pro Specialized, just 2 riders in this race. Nico Bell further back, and Wessel is doing a magnificent job all on his own. Miles from Mushenbrook makes a little dig for Pro Touch on the left-hand side of the road as we head through Killarney. The Pro Touch rider has put in a huge dig. He took it very easy coming out of the city, saving those legs perhaps, and now he wants to have a go. He's on his own. He has to try something. He's a real pocket rocket, Miles van Mushenbroek. He's worked so hard years and years, year in and year out for other riders. Today is his day, perhaps. Pro Touch with just 4 riders really in this race, in their senior team, their pro team, and Peter Seifert, the very experienced captain of the team, and then Calvin Binneke, also been around for many years, and the youngster Rocco King, who's a track specialist, but if it comes down to a sprint, he would be their key man. But right now for Pro Touch, it's Miles van Mushenbroek. He's got about 12 to 15 seconds on that chase group of 10 riders. Killarney Golf Club to the left, Houghton to the right. There's a determined effort behind Van Mushenbroek, led by team Tex Casper Kriep. Time trial mode for Van Mushenbroek. Forward on his saddle, he realizes it's over. Van Dijk has closed the gap, and Van Mushenbroek saying, come on guys, let's work this, let's get through here. And Wessel Botha says, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm the only other one here without a teammate. In fact, there's 2 of them, 2 others, Van Dijk and Van Mushenbroek. So here we go. Van Dijk is off the front now. Botha behind him. They try to work over those other riders with more than one option in this group. Wessel Botha looks over and says, well, I'll let someone else do the work now. There is a gentle breeze they're riding into. Heading towards the Glenhove Road off-ramp. We're 53 kilometers into the race. And this is the lead bunch. The select group we have around 2 minutes. Let's see if we can get the split to the main bunch. Well, the last we had was 2 minutes, so they'll have to work really, really hard. As I said, Alpha Bodyworks Giant to the team that have missed out here. .230, I think I've just heard. So I think this group know, well, they better start working, because if they ease off here, that group can shut them down on this long, fast drag down the M1 north. Venchslau goes off the front, and Wessel Botha follows. Everyone trying something here as we come down through Athol Oaklands on the M1 North. Again, Van Mushenbroek has dropped to the back of the group here after that little dig coming off the ridge and down through Killarney. Keeping his powder dry, perhaps. Travis Barrett on the front for Offiskuru. Britson's done his work up the climbs. save the legs for later. Big opportunity for Mark Pritson today. Well, for any one of these riders. Who's got the legs? Who's got the strength? Who's got the mind? David Maria's form's good. He might have to go early on those rolling hills through Blue Hills. David Maria's dropped back and having a chat with Miles van Musschenbroek at the back of that thing. Maybe trying to form an alliance. Melrose Arch to our left as we come down to the Corner Drive off-ramp of the M1 North. Long conversation. David Maria and Miles van Musschenbroek. And David Maria just makes sure he doesn't lose the wheel of Flavio Vencelau ahead of him. Plenty of good aggressive riding here. They're trying to thin this group down. So confirmation of the gap to the chase group of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Over the Caller Drive intersection. Traffic closed down on the M1 North on this section from the city all the way out to Woodmead, and traffic heading down on the other side of the road. We're heading M1 North. This is M1 South, of course, but we are heading north on the M1 South. Van Musschenbroek back at work on the front of the group with Jaco van Dijk behind him. And that little drag that'll take us past Wynberg, that may put a few of these riders under pressure. So Wesselboerter again, well, he's been remarkable, the young man from the NADPro team all the morning, working really hard, keeping out of trouble on his own, doesn't have any teammates here. Pritson in that South African banded jersey. Musschenbroek with him. A little bit of a gap there. David Maria says, well, I don't want that to get too far up the road. I'm just going to get across. Wesselboerter says, you help yourself. Pritson starting to open the taps here, luring a few of the riders out. David Maria's gone with him. Has he done damage? No, Jaco van Dijk is the last rider in this group and he's still okay. There's lots of eating going on at the back here. They need that energy later in the race. When's it gonna snap? The tension is building here. It's winding up in the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg Elite Men's Race. Under the Wynberg Bridge here, we've got Wynberg away to our right, big industrial and commercial area. Santon, the magnificently big, rapidly developing city centre away to our left. industrial heartland away to our right of Johannesburg, and in the financial heart to our left at Sandton. Van Muschenbroek, he's going to take this little climb on at the front of this line of riders, 11 of them. Still trees even on the M1 here line the road. There's 10 million trees. Zoo Lake started out as was established at one stage as a plantation. Planted things like the blue gums. They were used for pit props in the mines in those days. Of course, Johannesburg famous this time of year for its purple hue, the purple haze of the jacarandas. First brought to this country from South America in 1880. Now alien, invasive species, so you're not allowed to propagate or plant, but they do create a magnificent sight around the city streets. Everyone having a dig at the front here. So who looks most comfortable? Barrett at the back of this group. Wesselboot is looking so comfortable. Jaco van Dijk's looked good. He had a phasey moment towards around the 30 kilometers, but he's found legs now. There's no question about that. And David Maria from Enza and Mark Pritson from Office Guru, looking very, very impressive. Flavia Venchlau, the young man, third wheel now for TEG Pro Cycling. Well, the side of the water point on their right hand side has triggered drinking from the lead group as well. Around 35 kilometers remaining in this race, and 11 riders in this lead group, 2.5 minutes ahead of the main bunch. Office Guru, Alexander Worsdale, Mark Pritson, Travis Barrett, those three riders right at the front there. Jaco van Dijk. To his left is Flavia Venchlau, then it's Wesselboot. Just moves up now, Boerta. And almost for the first time, this group is starting to work together. And look already, just that little thrown around from Pritson, from Barrett, from Van Dijk. Boerta now going to the front, just starting to just wind it up a little. Some cohesion in this bunch now. Thrown off into the little light breeze that's coming out of the north. In fact, more than a light breeze, I think it's more a wind. Figure Flavia Venchlau has now put in a little bit of a surge on the front. Mark Pritson stayed with him, and now he moves to the front. No, Travis Barrett. The facial expression of Wessel Botha is one of a very comfortable young man. Very, very impressive. And on the road to victory a couple of weeks ago on the Wines to Wales mountain bike race alongside Matt Beers, a mountain biker of the highest regard. But Beers, of course, spent 3 months riding on the World Tour, the UAE Emirates team. And I'm sure that he would have given young Wessel Botha a lot to take away from that experience of riding with him at Wines to Wales. Wonderful to see him bringing his power and strength to the road here for Wessel Botha. Well, we have news that the gap has come down to 1 minute 40. 1 minute 40 on that lead group to the chase group. So things are starting to happen here. There's not much work being done on this group, so it may well come back. Well, they're leaving the road now, this lead group. So the Woodmead off-ramp is where the M1 is left behind for this lead group. So we'll take a split here on that group. So 11 riders up ahead in that lead group as we have around about 32 kilometers remaining in the race, and 11 riders up the road, and they're on Woodmead Drive now, and we're taking a split. The gap was around 2.5 minutes as they came down the M1, but it's by all accounts come down to around 1 minute and 40. But we have no sight yet of the chase group here. And in that group, some dangerous figures, of course. The likes of HP Clear, Giant Alpha Bodyworks missed the break today. They'll be disappointed with that. And they, I think, have been doing a lot of the hard work to try and close it down. Nolan Hoffman's in that group, but he's got 2 riders up the road here for Team Enza. And, of course, Daryl Impey is in that group as well. So we're on to 1 minute, the gap at the moment. But here comes that chase group. So it looks as though it is heading towards 1 minute and 20. And guess who's on the front? Daryl Impey is on the front of this group, and he's got Alpha Bodyworks behind him. So there's no question he wants to have a bite at this, and he's driving this group. Wonderful to see the South African champion doing the work there. On his own, the Mitchelton Scott rider, of course, he doesn't have any allies in this race. So Daryl Impey is right at the sharp end of the chase group. Great to see. He is a wonderful ambassador, wearing that South African champions jersey for the last 2 years around the World Tour, and doing a magnificent job. So 1 minute and 20 odd seconds. So it looks as though the gap is closing down. So let's see if we can catch them. And we should be able to. Phil Marr, my bike rider, and cameraman Khiria and Yuppie up front. We'll just turn the afterburners on. So we could have a really interesting race on our hands here at the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg, the elite men's race. Still early days, of course, in this reversed route, the flipped route. Last year, Brandon Downs won in 2 hours and 15 minutes, just 2 minutes slower than Daryl Impey's time a year earlier. But it's not all about time, of course. It's about who crosses the line first. And that's what counts here. And these riders learning to ride this new route. And no doubt have worked out a tactic or two. Woodmead, we're through now. And this is the chase group. As I said, there's some pretty handy challenges in here. But right up front here, Alpha Bodyworks Giant doing a lot of work on the front here. That's HB Creer. He is a real powerhouse. Another mountain biker. Daryl Impey says he's done. No question. He has got plenty left, this man. He's used to, this would be half his training rides normally. Middleton Scott rider. Of course, won stage 9 of the Tour de France this year. To become the second South African to win a Tour de France stage from Saint-Étienne-du-Brieuc. Daryl Impey, also of course a former wearer of the yellow jersey, the only South African to have done that, which is a considerable feather in his cap. So it's Impey and Danielle Matthews from Alpha Bodyworks Giant, and then HB Creer, Louis Visser, and guess who's reappeared at the front end of the race here? Lutando Kaka. Wonderful to see Lutando, looking very strong indeed. Years of experience, but Daryl Impey, and we'll talk about experience, he says he's done, but don't believe that. Only arrived back in South Africa on Friday. Did the Twitter ride, and many riders had the opportunity to ride alongside this man, such a great ambassador for the sport. So Danielle Matthews doing the hard yards here. HB Creer behind him, a mountain biker, lives down in Paarl. HB won the Paarl Cycle Tour earlier this year, and then the Amashover over 160 kilometers, so distance is not an issue for him. He's a real powerhouse. And then Lutando Kaka, that familiar riding style of Lutando, just in front of Daryl Impey. So that's the chase group. We'll roll forward now as we come through a very familiar area for the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg event. Of course, the Waterfall Country Estate was the home of the event for some time as it was developing. Past the Redham School on our right and the Waterfall Estate. Across Waterfall Drive, and of course we've got the lap around Kyle Army Grand Prix circuit. You won't find any smoother roads than those. No disrespect to the roads of Johannesburg, but that is of course a purpose-built racetrack, and in a week's time we'll be hosting some of the fastest cars in the world in a 9-hour race. So this is back with the lead group. So what's been happening here since we were last here? Well, the rider's gone off the front. Miles van Musschenbroek from Pro Touch has gone on a solo raid. Well, there was a time they'd be finishing coming up this road. But, of course, the reversed route has seen that flipped on its head. That's the R55. The magnificent Waterfall Estate, both left and right. Well, Miles van Musschenbroek here has got a handy little lead. He's been very clever. We've seen him drift off the back and just rest up, refuel, and then choose his moments to put in the big attacks. Can he make this one stick? Get out of sight of that lead group as we go into Kyalami. It's always a help. There's some activity in the group behind, that's for sure. He looks over his shoulder as he goes across the XK River. What damage has he done? Well, around 15 seconds worth, I reckon. "25 kilometers left. Has he got has he got energy left in the body and power in those legs to hold off the group? I can tell you that he hasn't, because Mark Pritson is once again at the front of the drive to bring them back. Another bold effort by Miles van Musschenbroek, and Pritson will come across. Van Wyk digging deep. Wessel Botha. 55 is the gap. So the gap is closing all the time. 55 seconds. Will it be that all their hard work of this intrepid bunch of raiders up front early is going to come to naught? We're riding just along Van Musschenbroek here. Every ounce of that body is being put to work. Pritson. Oh, Van Wyk nearly switched there. Wow. Very close, eye off the wheel to having an unnecessary fall. We're turning left now and into the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit, where in a week's time the roar of super-powered GT bikes will be ringing around the Kyalami area. But for now, it's the whistle of the wheels. Wow, what a reception from the Waterpoint crew here. Fantastic. Pritson's gone off the front of this group. David Marie is digging deep to close him down. He knows the dangers now as they close into the last 20 odd kilometers. Excuse me. We'll turn now and enter the track just to the one side of the magnificent pit complex. And we're on, and what a sight it is to be on the Kyalami Grand Prix racetrack. Preparations underway here to host a major international event next weekend. They'll be arriving, no doubt, from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the cars here. Resurrected a number of years ago by Toby Fenter when the Kyalami track was under threat to be sold off as a development, and as a passionate motorsport man, he decided, no, we cannot let this part of South African sporting history slip away, and he certainly resurrected it beautifully, and it remains an iconic South African sporting venue. And a chance to ride around it on the bikes. Well, what a chance it is for these 25,000 odd riders taking part in the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. So that bunch behind was 55 seconds as we turned into the Kyalami complex. They haven't come around that first corner yet as I look across. I've got a little climb up here. They call it the mine shaft. Used to be known as Leeuwkop Corner up the top here. And Alex Worsdale for Office Guru on the front, Mark Pritson behind him, and David Maria from Enza. So 9 riders here. Kasper Krier there for Teg. Flavia Venchla, his teammate, is a little bit further back. And Mars van Muschelbroek is starting to lose ground. Oh, he's got great resolve, Van Muschelbroek. We've seen him do this before, but perhaps this is the end of the line for him. Joshua van Wyk as well from Enza has just rolled off the back of the group. Well, magnificent road surface, isn't it, for the riders to enjoy here. Well, amazing on the front there, Wessel Botha, with no real road racing experience at this level, has looked totally at home in mixing it with these guys who race week in and week out on the road and in their big teams. And he's still on the front. Can he hold it together? Well, the track looking in magnificent shape. Grandstands up and prepared, and the surface is great. The paintwork is looking good. It's all in great shape for next week's big event, but this is the big event this week. Well, I tell you, Mars van Muschelbroek is gone, but a huge effort by Joshua van Wyk, and he's pulled himself back. That's a huge job. Well done. There he goes. He rejoins the group. Well done to the Enza rider. He dug really deep. He needs to do a little bit more work. A late escape is perhaps what's on here. Someone is going to attack in the last 20 odd Ks. Off the track we come. Nine riders. Again, Wessel Botha, who's been nowhere other than the top 4 the whole ride, is there on the front of this group. We're out of the Kyalami complex. really fast section. Now a little bit of work to be done here for the riders. Climb up here at Blue Hills has got some stinging climbs, and this is perhaps where it'll all come out. Little attack up the right by Alexander Worsdale. 1.5 minutes, so the gap has gone out again to that group, the chase group. I got the word, this lead group coming into Kyalami, that they were 55 seconds ahead, and a little bit of work done by them to close it down. So let's get an assessment here. Joshua van Wyk has pulled himself back. He's at the back of this lead group. But Casper Kriel on the front for Teg. Big and strong pro cycle. Beg your pardon, Teg on the front. Then Office Guru Mark Pritson. Vessel Boerter third wheel. Alex Worsdale, David Marie, Flavia Venceslau, Joshua van Dijk, Jaco van Dijk, beg your pardon, and Joshua van Wyk at the back. That's our select group here. Eight riders who should, barring an extraordinary change of circumstance, decide amongst them who will be the champion in the 23rd year of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. Survival here over this, and then they'll fly down for a short descent, and then a couple more kickers before they turn into Summit Road. Whoa, Flavia Venceslau with a drop chain. So the young man from Teg has dropped a chain, and he's got work to do. Just over the brow of that little hill, Van Wyk, Joshua van Wyk having to work again to make his way back. Boy, he's put in a big shift today. But slowly but surely this group is being whittled down. David Maria went away late at the Tshwane Classic not long ago to take victory for Team Enza. His form's good. Pritson has shown nothing other than strength today. Very little opportunity for others to take advantage of him. He's been almost impregnable. Casper Kriel is looking back to see where Flavia Venceslau is. His teammate. It changes the dynamic here with only one Teg rider in this group. Venceslau is probably 20 seconds back on his own, trying to make his way back, and of course there goes David Maria. He was in a conversation with Casper Kriel, although I think it was a one-way conversation because Kriel was talking to him, and the next moment he put his head down and headed up the road. Little bit of an incline through Baloo here. And now it becomes more of an incline. And Davner knows his chances in a small bunch sprint are not going to be very good. So he's going to try and get away. But Pritson, so strong. Buerta behind him. Slowly but surely shutting him down. And they've done that. Mark Pritson really has been outstanding. He and Wessel Buerta today, quite remarkable. There's a lovely support from the side of the road for the riders. One little climb done. And a nice fast descent now, and then another. Summit Road beckons. 16 kilometers remaining in the 2019 Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. What a beautiful day for it. It's been perfect conditions so far. It will get warmer, no question about that. And the wind might come up for those later in the day. But for this elite ride, well, seldom is it anything other than perfect up here in the Gauteng region. ACDC team car come up now to give Jaco van Dijk a bottle. Most of that bottle's gone. One drink and done. The final surge of sugar for Jaco van Dijk to knock the last 12-15 k's of this race on the head. So up another climb here through Blue Hills. This is Wessel Buerta on the front for the NAD Pro team on his own here in this lead group. Wessel Pritson, Marie van Dijk and Casper Krier, the rest of the riders. I'm afraid Flavia Venslaar is just making no real progress. I'm trying to close down. He dropped a chain just after the Kyalami exit. Well, this is equestrian land around here. A lot of equestrian estates. And this beautiful part of Johannesburg, semi-rural. Rolling hills, the Blue Hills. So this is getting down to the business end here. And Casper Krier is luring them out. .8 of 9 here. So 7 left here with Venslaar dropping off. And that little climb, no real damage done. One last drag up into the intersection of Summit And Jaco van Dijk has a little dig on the right-hand side for AC/DC. David Maria says, no, I'm going to chase that down, which then brings Mark Pritson along and Wessel Botha. And so they go. Worsdale having to dig deep at the back here for Office Guru, the tuck student. Damage will, if anything, yes, Van Dijk is going to have another go. Well, Mark Pritson really is looking like the man to beat here. If it comes down to a small bunch sprint, he might be the man. If it comes down to an attack, late attack, David Maria, perhaps. Wessel Botha is going to have to play his cards very, very carefully indeed. The solo man for NAD Pro. He hasn't attacked at any stage today, but it's the last to attack. Here's Worsdale now for Office Guru. The gap 1 minute and 55 to the chase group, so I think that is history. The winner of this year's race has got to come out of this bunch, surely. There's fatigue on the faces here of Casper Krier right at the back, and Joshua van Wyk. And so they should be. They've worked very, very hard for the last 2 hours and now have 12 kilometers to finish off the job. So with Office Guru with 2 riders in here, 2 from Enza. One of those, Joshua van Wyk, you feel is pretty much running on an empty tank. Jaco van Dijk for AC/DC. Wessel Botha from NAD Pro. Well, what a job he's done on his own all day. They're going to hook a left here into Summit, and then they'll know. The last roll of the dice on these roads. Manandi downhill finish into River Sands. You believe that whoever is ahead there will be the man to take the win. And now they're looking around. Wessel Botha, hasn't played a card yet, except be in the pack, and that's the one card you want to play. You've got to be in the picture all the time, and he's been there and thereabouts. A little bit of a headwind now. Continue right at the back of the field there. Joshua van Wyk will be relieved, just recouping a little bit of the energy. He really has been suffering in the back here for the last while, taking advantage of the slightly gentler terrain. Worsdale on the front for Office Guru, alongside him Pritson. David Maria for Enza. He's looking for Van Wyk, who I think might be digging a lot deeper than you'd want to be. Now there's a definite headwind these riders are dealing with here on the summit. Worsdale's out the saddle for Office Guru. Ave Maria reacts immediately. Still doing some work to give yeah, it's actually, no, it's just looking at the grass now, it's more a side wind, but if they were riding into 12 o'clock from about 2 o'clock, that breeze, that's why Pritson is hugging the very edge of the road there, and Worsdale's giving him some cover. Vesselboerter nicely positioned. When is he going to make a move? Now Casper Kruger from Teg Pro Cycling on his own. It's up to him for his team. Likewise for Jaco van Dijk. This is the last of the water points coming up on our right hand side here. And 10 kilometers from the finish. Well, it's the calm before the storm, you feel here in the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg for 2019. This lead group of 7 riders been together since around kilometer 30, give or take a few riders who've been with them and then disappeared. And Office Guru seem to hold the aces here with 2 very strong riders, Alex Worsdale on the front here and Mark Pritson behind him. Ave Maria for Team Enza, his only ally, Joshua van Wyk, is dangling off the back of this group. Vesselboerter for NAD Pro mountain biking, riding the road race of his life here. Casper Kruger has gone exceptionally well for Teg, lost his only ally in this group around Kyalami about 12 kilometers ago in Flavia Venceslau. And Jaco van Dijk of ACDC has done an enormous amount of work, has been bold at times and gone off the front, but it hasn't paid off. But he hasn't been dropped, and that's the key. He's still in the mix. 7 riders. One of these riders is going to win the race today. 8 kilometers to go. So the confirmation of the race is here because they're a 4-minute gap to the other group. Now Pritson has put in a bit of a surge on the front here. He's winding it up. Worsdale's with him. They are going to stick to each other like glue. And you can bet that David Maria is not going to let them out of their sights behind him. That a mountain biker, an out-and-out mountain biker, can upset the odds here and take the win in Vesselboerter. That would be extraordinary in these circumstances, considering that he's a lone rider. Worsdale emptying his tank on the front here for Office Guru and for Mark Pritson. It's a crosswind for sure. It's a brutally hard section of the course, this. 86 kilometers in the legs of those undulations, the first 45 as well. And this is hard, flat riding. Pritson looking very comfortable at second wheel. Maria keeping as low as possible to keep out of the wind. Wessel Botha fourth wheel. Here's the turnoff. Worsdale drags him right to angle into the corner. Fast descent. They swing left on a bumpy bend. 7 riders left in this race to decide who will win the Discovery 947 Cycle Challenge. Alex Worsdale off the front for Office Guru. Not too far off the front. David Maria injected himself between the two Office Guru riders. Pritson is behind Maria. Botha. And then a little gap to Casper Creer, Joshua van Wyk and Jaco van Dijk. Beg your pardon. Now Wessel Botha on the front, the young mountain biker. He's throwing a dice for the first time. Can he finish it off here on this descent? Into the tuck he goes. Worsdale's done his bit. He's off the back. Look at this long descent down towards River Sands. Still 7 in it. What an incredible race. What a great finish. The glinting cars, thousands of them parked around that finish area. Riders out on the road at the moment. But this is the sharp end, having started just after sunrise this morning. 2 hours and 12 minutes on the road so far. They're into the last 3 or 4 kilometers. Worsdale's come from the back now. He's going to go up and try and give Pritson every bit of help he can. David Maria urgently calling his teammate up, Joshua van Wyk. He needs all the help he can get at this stage. Pedaling for all they're worth. Wessel Botha's in the mix here. He's second rider. Worsdale up the road. Casper van Wyk, Casper Creer sitting at the back here, quietly minding his own time. And Jaco van Dijk, an opportunity for the AC/DC rider, perhaps beckons up the road. Huge turn on the front there, way ahead. Alex Worsdale. David Maria calling Josh van Wyk through. Here's Casper Creer. He's having a go now inside the last couple of kilometers. They're going to swing down now onto the approach road. Worsdale, has he got it in him to stay away? He's got a lead of 20 meters or so. Last sharp bend. Alex Worsdale. Away he goes. Can he stay it? Pritson's going to let him go, that's for sure. And the man chasing is Wessel Botha from the NAD Pro team. Now Pritson realizes Botha might be a day. Here goes Pritson himself. Staying with him is Maria. Worsdale round the circle first. Whoa, little twitch of wheels there. David Maria goes. Worsdale, Pritson. It's one of those two. Pritson or Worsdale. I reckon it's Mark Pritson. Mark Pritson has won it. Mark Pritson, I think, from Office Guru, has taken the win in the Discovery 947 Cycle Challenge. What a finish. Great lead out by Alex Worsdale. And Pritson attacked with not even 50 meters remaining and has taken the win here. Fantastic work. Mark Pritson deserves that. He did an enormous amount of work the whole day. What a day. What a ride by the Office Guru team. Fantastic. Great work by Wessel Botha. So the winner of the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg, Mark Pritson, has done the job magnificently here. And a great job by the whole Office Guru team.
So let's see if we can get a quick word here with Mark Pritson. Wow, Mark, what a race. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to thank my teammate for the work at the end there. That was brilliant. Thank you, Vos. Just to get that little bit of a gap took a little bit of pressure off of me. So yeah, just happy to put it off.
I mean, you guys were in the break all day. Was this going to be the plan once you'd got that break established?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we wanted a small group going to the finish because we knew the finish is very technical, and especially like that last left-hander at the top there. We knew if you have 15 seconds, you're gone. It's so fast down that hill. So yeah, it worked out perfectly. We're a bit surprised when we got away so early, but it worked out perfectly. So we're happy.
Fantastic. You had a good year. The team's had a great year as well.
Yeah, the team have had an absolutely brilliant year. Yeah, I can just say thank you to the team for all the success that I've achieved, and then to what obviously the team has achieved. This is a team sport at the end of the day, so without them, nothing would be possible. But it wasn't only me getting results. I mean, the team has been really phenomenal this year. I mean, every single one of them deserved this win, and this is not me that won. This is Office Gurus that won.
Yeah, but what does it mean for you? What does it feel like?
This is a race I've always wanted to win. It's really amazing. I'm still speechless. It hasn't sunk in yet at all.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's see if we can catch his ally, Alex Worsdale. Where is Alex? Here we are. There we go. Let's get a look at him. Well done. Key attack right at the end there. Obviously, that was part of the plan.
Yeah, that was part of the plan to protect Mark and keep him in the best shape for the sprint as good as he could be.
You really had it all the aces with the three riders for most of the day.
Yeah, we set ourselves up quite nicely. We didn't overextend ourselves for the comms and the hot spots, and saved ourselves for the finish.
Well, congratulations. Job done.
Thank you.
Great. That's Alex Worsdale. I think you finished second today. And I think Wessel Botha was our third finisher. Let's have a chat to, well, look at this, a group of mountain bikers. Look at them here. The young mountain bikers and the slightly older mountain biker, Nico Bell, Henry Liebenberg, and Wessel Botha. You take your glasses off, please, Wes. Let's have a look at you here. Yeah, well done, Wessel. What a day. Got in the break. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a fun day on the bike. My first time doing the 94 road race. And yeah, it was actually just a fun race for us our off-season started last weekend, so yeah, just saw what we could do. Luckily got him a break, and yeah, it was quite nice riding him in front.
Yeah, I mean, obviously your condition's pretty good at the moment, coming off the sort of tough end of the mountain bike season.
Yeah, we had good form going into Wines to Wells and Charles Seeker last weekend, so yeah, this week not really hard training, but still the form is good enough to give a roadies a go.
Yeah, you scared a few of them there, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it was good keeping the pace high, letting the guys work, because not everybody wanted to pull in the brake, so yeah, just made it hard for them on the climbs, and yeah, I enjoyed the day on the bike.
This road racing thing, you fancy it?
No, my love is still with mountain bike, so these races are just for fun for me.
Well, congratulations, you made it very, very interesting here.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right, that's Wessel Botha finishing third today here at the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg. A race won by Mark Pritson. Second place, Alex Worsdale, office guru, having a great day at the office today. Now, that's our wrap of the men's elite race here on our live streaming. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope we gave you a sense of what it was about today. But what we'll be doing later on this afternoon, around 1 o'clock, we'll be bringing you a full hour as we recap not just this week and today's events, but of course the last weekend's mountain bike and the kiddies race and everything that goes about what makes the Discovery 947 Ride Joburg event one of the biggest and best events of its kind anywhere in South Africa. Join us for that at 1 o'clock. Lerato and I will bring you all the personalities and the vibe and the hype. See you then.